RMF Step 0 prepares an organization for the other RMF steps. The idea behind all this is that by preparing you will have a much easier time completing RMF Step 1 through 6. In this section, I'm going to touch base on the following Step 0 activities. We're going to talk about how to define roles and responsibilities, Task P1. We're going to talk about establishing a risk management strategy, Task P2. And then we're going to talk about how to conduct an organization level risk assessment, Task P3. Let's get right into it. The first thing we want to do to prepare for a system A&A is to identify roles and responsibilities. Why? If you don't know who's who and who should be doing what, you're not setting yourself up for success. Let's take a quick scroll through Appendix D of the NIST 837. They have outlined the roles that should be involved in a system A&A process. It's a lot of roles. Some may be familiar to you, others may not. I don't want you to get stuck on the naming convention used for each role because every organization name their roles differently. Also keep in mind, some people may occupy more than one role listed in Appendix D. Some roles may be occupied by more than one person. Some roles, like system engineer or system admin, may be occupied by a group of people sharing those responsibilities. The important part to understand here is the responsibilities. Another important thing to note, your organization should avoid one person having roles that have conflicting interest. For example, the authorizing official should not be the same person as the system owner. That's because the authorizing official makes the final determination to accept system risk, while the system owner is responsible for making sure the system is operational, aka working as expected. An authorizing official who is also a system owner will be pressured to keep the system running and therefore inclined to accept more risk. The second thing you want to do to prepare is establish your organization risk management strategy. I find that a lot of my students have a hard time defining the word risk. So let's take a quick detour to define that word. If I were to break it down to two words, I would define risk as potential damages. To use an analogy, think of a water dam. Now imagine that dam is there to protect a small town from being flooded. The security control in this scenario is a dam itself as it holds back the water. We could consider the water as the threat in this case. If the water broke through the dam, the town would be flooded. Therefore, two known risks are 1. Property damages, and 2. Personal safety. I hope that detour helps some people that are struggling with understanding the word risk. Now let's get back to our discussion around organization risk strategy. It is important for your organization to prepare for the RMF process by having a risk management strategy in place. In order to accomplish this preparation task, you need to get your organization leadership to have a written strategy in place. This document should address the following things. The threats that surround your organization. What are the priorities of these threats? Which one is the most threatening? How are you going to handle security and privacy risks that affect your organization? How much risk is okay for your organizational leadership when they're deciding on investment and operations? What are ways that your organization can assess and respond to risk? And what is your process in place to check risk consistently across the organization? When you formulate risk management strategy, do not think about the organization internally. Your strategy should also address hardware, software suppliers, aka supply chain. It should also address contractors and systems from other organizations that you may be interconnected with. With a risk management strategy in place, the next preparation task is to conduct a risk assessment at the organization level. This means your leadership team should have a holistic understanding of what puts your organization at risk. How do you do this as an analyst? Well, you collect all the data you can find that identify risk, and then you present a high-level summary for leadership to consume. Here's some examples of places you can look for risk assessment data. If your system have already gone through an ATO process in the past, the outcome of that is a risk assessment report. This is a very good resource to use if you have it. For my beginners, don't worry. If you don't know what a risk assessment report is, you will learn how to draft one by the end of this course. Another place you can look are external systems that your system is connected to. If there are obvious risks, you want to notate those. Maybe your supply chain might have risks that you know about. You want to notate those as well. External users that have access to your system. Internal users that have access to your system. You need to consider risk associated with just about anywhere and anything. You should also consider risk associated with your work location. For example, if your organization have multiple locations, then you need to consider risks that may be unique to each location. These are all pointed places that I'm mentioning, but really you can collect them from anywhere they are available. You just have to pretty much try to notate them all wherever you can find them and ask the right questions, interview the right departments. In the next section, we will continue to discuss how to prepare for your System A&A. Step 0 continue. See you on the next one.